Hey guys, greetings and welcome to episode number 8 of Suits and Sports. And on behalf of Global Sports Policy Review, I would like to welcome you guys to this special episode. We are joined by not just a sports professional, she is a sports personality. Erika Morri, ma'am, our guest for today, is a former international rugby player. She's represented her country, Italy. She's represented them at 2 World Cups, 7 European Championships. And apart from that, she is an ex-member of the Italian Federation. And she's right now an inspirational woman of her country. She's a consultant and a creator of When I'm Worth It, You Are Worth It, which is a Italian rugby and art program for children. So, ma'am, thank you so much for accepting our invite, ma'am. How are you doing today?
Fantastic, buongiorno. So you begin to know that I'm Italian, so buongiorno, it's a way of wish a good day.
Ma'am, namaste from our side.
Yeah, namaste.
Namaste, namaste.
How are you today, ma'am? How's the weather in Italy?
We are lucky. In the part of Italy where I live, we've got a quite wonderful time. So the weather is good, the temperature is good, and we are ready for the interview.
So, ma'am, first of all, you are welcome once again. And
Thank you.
the welcome is like you have taken up your time and to sit with us in this formal talk about the rugby. So, without not losing any time, so we are starting with our face. The Ryan is our moderator here. So, Ryan will be guiding you with he will asking you many things. He has many terms in his mind. Let's see, Ryan.
Thank you so much.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Ma'am, first question is very general, ma'am. Ma'am, how did it feel to represent your nation at the highest stage of your sport, ma'am? What did it feel like when you stepped out on the field, representing your country with the insignia there,
ma'am? The fantastic things and that you don't feel alone. You feel representing a country, and the fact of singing the items, that is the moment that you really breathe and begin something that you don't know where it's going to lead you, because also the moment in which you are preparing yourself, because in rugby, like at the other sport, you are in the locker room, the changing room, and you are just concentrated on entering in the pitch. So there is also the preparation. And when you represent your nation, you just think that you should and you have to do your best. But when you walk on the pavement and you listen to the noise that all the shoes make, and you arrive to the pitch and you see that green, there is nothing, and you are going to think that you are going to build something on this nothing, and you enter and you sing the song of your nation. I think that this is the most exciting moment, and then begin the match. And so the result of the match, who knows? You know that you prepare yourself at your best to be the best possible representation of your country.
Wow, ma'am. Actually, the way you just described it, I just felt it, I didn't feel it properly, but still the way when you went from the footsteps and stuff, we've never thought so deep, ma'am, that it would have been a brilliant moment for you, ma'am. But a question, so it's more, before I head on particularly into rugby, ma'am, when you're playing at the highest level, how do you maintain that composure? How do you handle the pressure, ma'am?
The pressure.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the bad things is finding everybody's own way. I can speak about my way, music. So I really breathe and listen to music. And obviously, depending on the moment, when you train, I use a certain kind of music. When I was ready for the match, another kind of music. But at the same time, arrive in a moment in which you are part of a team. So I don't listen to music anymore because I'm not alone. I have my concentration, but I'm ready to just make the concentration connected to the one of my teammate, because you are part of a system, and 1 + 1 = 3, not equal 2. So if you're adjusting your word, you don't understand that is your word, that your word is strictly connected with the word of the other ones. So let's get together. First step, your concentration. Second step, irradiation of concentration.
Right, ma'am. So I also want to ask one thing to you, which is that you played rugby for a long period of time, right? And what's the secret of that? It's like from 1991 to the 20s, like a long period. How you managed that?
Because I had a hard head, because I absolutely love what I was doing, and because time were really changing. I played 21 years, so when I was in the high school until my 40s, and so you are right. It's many era, like dinosaur, no? So I just see how my sport developed, and it never was the same. So you're facing always new situations, and you just want to try to take your experience to get it better. So I just felt that that was the thing that made me amusing, the highest way that I really enjoy myself. And so until you enjoy yourself, you go straight on the same street. When I arrived to 40, I just point, in Italy, you can play in the agonistic way until 42. But I said, I arrive at 40 because I can just, until I can give something to the pitch and something to my teammate, I play. Otherwise, it's going to stop, because sometimes you don't see the time in which is right to stop, because it's respect to you, toward yourself. I would never bear that hearing someone say, you see Erika, once she was a good player, because when you have to be really trained to play rugby, because otherwise you hurt yourself. It's not just a question of enjoying, and it's a question because I always want to win. So if the feeling like of winning is not present you in anymore, because you say, oh no, it's too tiring, oh no, I have to go to training also this evening, no, that is the point in which you have to shift and change and do something different. When I leave the pitch, so I didn't leave the pitch, I just go on the other side of the pitch, because my aim is making more girls possible and more people possible playing rugby. So I just change the side and support differently my movement.
So this is really good to connect. Like another thing I want to ask, like you just now mentioned about the movement, which is like the development of the female in the rugby. So when does these things came in your mind? Like we need to work for the female development also.
It
Are
always
you
was
like
there. I always thought about it. It's just from the beginning. Obviously, when you are young, you don't think that you are part of a movement. You are just enjoying yourself. You want to enter in the pitch. You want that other teams born, because obviously I was the second generation. I was not the first one. So there were already other women that I really thank them to be the first pioneers. And the second side, and my group was the one who went to the first World Cup, but there were women who played before the first World Cup in many continents, in many countries. Perhaps they are not so known, but I really thank them to be the first and go against every stereotypes, because I get through a lot of stereotypes too, but this is the story. You have to work hard just to demonstrate that you have the right to choose whatever you want that make you feel good. So it's not a question of gender. It's a question of say what I like, what I feel that is the thing that make express my ideas, my love, my strength. And so this is the feeling that I can transmit also today, because now I changed the point of view, but not the way of loving the sport and not the way of contributing it, because everybody is a part of a chain. And so it depends on you which work would you like to do to support and make the change stronger?
Right. So the next question will be coming from Ryan. I think he was waiting for asking you something for a long period of time.
Wow, ma'am,
Ryan, I'm ready,
that, that,
please.
that was really inspiring, ma'am. So, from a professional athlete's point of view, ma'am, what were the certain hardships you faced? Like like what were the particular things that actually was going to pull you down, but then you still decided to, like, not let that come across to you?
But it happened one day yes and one day no. No, not so much, but um, there is a time for everything, it said, right? When female rugby never been professional. So I train twice a day and work and study. So it's not having the life of a professionist that he knows or she knows that the sport is his job. So you can just take care of your body and take to leave time of rest, leave time of work, and managing what is a work. So my difficulties, and in reality, I discovered later that was my luck. My difficulties, it was that I began when I was the last year of the high school. So I went to the university and I continued playing. I finished the university and I began to work. So until you study, you can manage better your time. In the meantime that you begin to work, so I train at 6 o'clock in the morning before going to work, and at 8:30 in the evening after finishing working. So you can imagine everybody of us after 8 or 10 hours of work is destroyed. So there, in that moment, is the moment in you just look at yourself in the mirror, say, are you feeling like going to training? Obviously, it's raining, it's snowing. The people say, I'm not coming for this and that. And so it's the moment in which you have to find your strength to say, I want to go. Because also if it rains, okay, in my town rains really often. So what I have to do? I could not go with an umbrella, and rain doesn't dissolve a human being, just wash it, no? So it's also an habit. And but it was tough. And I always said, why I don't have the luck of being a professionist. But after master degrees, because I'm lucky I've got the possibility of study, and I have the perception for the first time, looking to other professionists that was facing the world of the work world, they don't have the habit of challenging themselves in both the situation. I've got the luck of studying, doing master, doing my path in work at the right age. Others who were professionists until an adult moment, they were entering in the market of the work market late, and they think that it works like in the sport, that you work hard and you get results. And we know that in the work is not like this. There are many variables. So I was trained by life in knowing that sport was my super strong base to facing and be ready for other challenge. But because I've done both, but obviously it was a choice, because I don't have 30 hours in my day, so I don't perhaps go often in the evening like my friends, or I don't go to weekends like my friends, but I follow my love. So that was my choice and I don't regret it. But I feel lucky after, not at the beginning.
Right. It's like a right way to, like, even the people who will be listening to you, they will also get inspired. Maybe they will be coming back in field now. So it's a real inspiration to having you. But when I have a small question, which is some countries are too much orthodox, right? Like for them, women should be stayed in house. That though they are coming in front, like even there for them the dresses are some problems, right? I don't want to mention any country's name. Hopefully, you're getting my point. So, how will you make these women come forward and play? any type of like the rugby or football, any type of sport. This is very tough for them. Even their society does not take that in a in a positive way. So I wonder can
This is the most important things that we can do, and that is women's rugby land of freedom. Something happening technically, but we get through also to it. So the matter is just continuously work on what is our best version, and we be ready when it need to be ready. So the fact that you always listen to the other, or the other, I know that sometimes family think that your way have to be one, and you think that your way it's another one. We have to use not the strength but the intelligence, because with the strength you don't go so far, but with the way in which you are able to negotiate and to express your right, this is the way: intelligence and mediation.
well answered, ma'am. And sorry for the technical glitch which happened in between. So another part, like not in certain part of countries also, their rugby is not developed that much. Whether it's like for the pupil, I am saying, whether it's a male or a female, but rugby itself has not developed. For example, like in India, we don't have, like we don't have the rugby team that much developed, which the European countries have. Like we are playing also some of the European games like cricket. But
Yes.
when it comes to rugby, it's something like you will find very minimal person, like very less person who is playing rugby. And when we ask why rugby is not developing, they say India is a hot country, like the humidity is the very humid country. So that's the reason people not follow rugby. But I myself feel like this is a myth, like this is a fully myth, like it's people just say. So what do you think can we do for the countries where rugby is not developed that much?
If I've got the solution, I would have higher connections. In this moment, I can say only the fact that every sport has got its wonderful side. There is not a sport better than another. It's the sport that you love more than one other. This is the first things. But the other things is that you have to meet people who love the sport they were doing, because love is the answer. Love is the way in which you transmit your passion. And so you can just be passionate to a sport because really often you meet someone who make you love it. So the teacher, like in school, like in the education side, you are in love with the matter because obviously you've got an attitude, but also the teacher that teach it to you make you love or not. So you've got for sure working on the fact that to develop whatever sport. Rugby also in Italy is not so developed. We are part of the Six Nations, so we've got a high visibility, but we are female rugby speaking, we are not so developed. We've got a high quality of performance compared to the number of girls who play. But we are not, we've got a long path to develop rugby in Italy too. So it's not a question of India. You've got lots of people so your number are really high. So if you can find a way, if I say we can find a way to tell us and develop, it's just telling what are the most important values that our sport takes. And there is like a ritual that in some other sport are not present, that can be perhaps a way of saying, oh, rugby is played in 3 times 2 you play 2 times and the third time it's a party, and people say, oh, what do you mean? We mean that eating together. So in our sport, in rugby, you've got 3 times. The 2 times is the one in which you play, but the third time is called third times when the 2 teams eat together. So your club, the club who play and host the other club, offer food to the team who is coming from outside, just to thank them and just to share that moment and just speak one to each other. So it's not 2 teams who one eating one's room and another in the other room, because we are at the end when the referee whistles, we just share the same love. So why not speaking? I've got fantastic friends in other team, because I always appreciate this way of sharing our sport. And so this is a thing that other sport perhaps doesn't have. Or rugby has got, it's the only one, this is the only one, who's got a group technique act, the scrum. The other sport, you pass the ball, you just, in volleyball or in football, you pass the ball to one of your teammates. In rugby, we've got the scrum that are 8 women or 8 men that just connect all together to push against the other 8. And this is the only technical moment in all the sports in which are there 8 people who work, who do one technical act. So for this is said that is one of the most team sport, because we've got this technical action that the other sport doesn't have. But I can go along, so stop me, please.
Right, ma'am. So Ryan.
Yeah, ma'am, it was really interesting, especially how you explained how important a team is, and especially in regard with rugby, a game which a lot of us in India don't know. So I think this is really helpful. Ma'am, so moving on, this is a little, it might be a weird question. Ma'am, how many injuries did you have while playing rugby, ma'am, over your entire career? And how did you deal with them?
I would like to clarify that every athlete has got his own stories. I've got some, but until the thing that I always say to myself, that was that I will decide when stop, not injuries. So this is why I keep on going also when I broke some bones, but can happen. It can happen also if you just go in a street and you just don't see an obstacle and you just fall down. So if you just can break a leg like this in rugby, but I would like perhaps to clarify one thing. We are not the most dangerous sport. We are perhaps 7th, because obviously we study also this. We are 7th in the ranking, and other sports are more dangerous than ours. But sometimes people think that, oh, I got injured is something to be proud. I'm not proud about my injuries. I'm proud about the values that my sport communicates, not the fact, see, I've broken bones. This is not the interesting part. The interesting part is how you appreciate the life of the club. And also when I was injured, I just helped my team. So I went to training with my broken arms or whatever. And I just continued training in other parts. So if I have a problem in the hands, I work on the leg. If I've got problem in the leg, you work on the superior part. Always keep on working on your quality.
So I'm taking this part of injury. Like when I'm saying for the injury, like people says, like some people researcher also says that the rules of like the rules in rugby union is not that much developed, which can protect the player after the injury occurs. So what's your view on that? Is that true? I'm taking as total as a pupil, I mean to say, like for both.
For sure, the game develop continuously, and also the kind of body and the performance that obviously were when player were not professionist, and nowadays they are professionist. So also the quality of the expression of a strength is completely different. So the impact are completely different, because once you pay, your weight was 70 kilos, now is 100 kilos. So the impact that a players of 50 kilos and another players of 100 kilos obviously is completely different. And it's for this that they are continuously changing the rules. I'm not a specialist in this, so I just would like to give my own opinion, not being a specialist, because there are people who really study hard and work hard to understand which is the best way to preserve and to prevent and to work on preventions. And so it's a theme really important and really hard. And I trust the people who were in charge or is in charge to solve this situation step by step, because it's always working and changing.
Right, ma'am. So Ryan, this goes back to Ryan, not the moderator himself.
Ma'am, so you've always like wanted to get or inspire more women to start playing sports, ma'am. So could you like give a huge, not good. I mean, could you just give a message to a lot of them, like to, because ma'am, I'll give you an example. In my classes also many a times when we call like come participate for sports. I'll be honest, my batch in my college, we didn't have like, we have an interclass tournament like within the university. It's the first year versus the second year and stuff. And from my first year there was no girls team participating in any sport. And ma'am, so like, could you just give a shout out or a message to all of them, like as to why they should play sports and how important it is?
Okay, girls, try something new. Try something that just get out from your comfort zone, and perhaps you discover that you will be super also in this.
I think that was I think honestly that's actually the best way to put it, ma'am. It's actually inspiring coming from you. And ma'am, but what should like Subrajit sir already asked that question, the fact that it depends, sometimes in countries they tell not to play sports, ma'am. So from your perspective, what actually pushed you to choose rugby, and what pushed you to choose a sport initially? Was it one player that inspired you to start playing rugby, or you just love the game and then you're like, okay, fine?
I began playing rugby quite late. Also, if I was the youngest player of my team, and because when I began, and I was 90, 80, yes, end of the last year of high school, and my team, so all my mates were really older than me, and I was throwing javelin. So I got really a background who really helped me in being really quickly at high level, because I was really prepared physically and also mentally, because I was already training every day. And I arrived in a moment in which rugby you train twice a week. And I've got a pass because I wasn't in the highest level of javelin thrower. So I was super trained, and I had the luck of having one talent. I've got many defects, but I was a super tackler. I love tackling, because some say, how you can love tackling someone? Have you ever tried? This is my answer, because when you tackle for the first time, and this is what I see every time in the girls and the boys who tackle for the first time, that is a moment when you just put down your teammate or your whoever you are tackling the first time. When you wake up, wake up, it could be a correct, when you just stand up and you just look around and no one shot to this person because it was you who just put it down. You think, oh, I've done it. This that I tried so many times, I always failed. So I can do. How many other things I can do? How many other things are in my power? Perhaps I don't believe it until now, to be able to do something else that I was not able to do until just 1 minute ago. So in that time, you begin to think that you can be perhaps do a one step more, not only in rugby, but this is the direct connection with life. My sports that is considered so tough really helped me for my mindset to understand that if you work hard, you can do a lot of things that you ever even imagined. So if you this like this in the pitch, why can't be in the real life? Just take the same mindset, working hard, and perhaps, because until you don't do it, you don't know. So rugby, and you ask me why rugby? Because my father played. And I've got the luck because many fathers didn't want that the daughter play rugby, to be sincere. I was lucky, I thanks to my father that he didn't say, oh, go, go. He said, if you want, if you like to go. So he didn't push me, but he was generous and intelligent enough to say, my daughter, do whatever you would like to do. And this is the message to all the father and all the mother that can listen to us. Just trust your daughters and son and just let them do what they feel to do. Perhaps they will wrong, and so they will change the decision, but perhaps they are right. So this is how I began rugby.
Wow, ma'am.
It's a wonderful story, man. It's a wonderful story. So, like we, as you know, we are like in lack of time. So it's like before signing off, right? Before signing off. So I want to, I want you to say something to our community, so we can come back with not only women specifically, like women is also always should be there because we are also lacking in some stage, also for the all total, so all total people. So we want you to say something, a motivation quotation to us, so we can also come forward.
Okay, so sports is not a question of gender. Passion is not a question of gender. Love for the sport is not a question of gender. Just listen to yourself. If there is a challenge or it's something that makes you curious, try, go for it, trust yourself. And this is the thing, just always follow your feeling and you will succeed. That's it.
Thank you, ma'am. It's like some small point has made us a very good impact to the society. Just small points, and you have already mentioned that. Thank you. So back to Ryan.
Thank you.
Wow, ma'am, thank you so much. I'll be honest, your words are nothing but inspiring, because I still, even when you initially spoke about how, ma'am, like you were telling you were managing work and studies and playing at the same time. If you look at today's world, if you ask an athlete who's not playing professional, like if you come to me, even I would complain and tell, I'll be like, bro, I have to study, have to go for practice. People often give excuses, but the way you said it with professionalism, and I think that is something for every sports person, and every, not just sports person, every professional also out there, that rather than giving excuses of saying how much work we have to do, we should take it in a positive mindset, the way you said it, ma'am. So thank you so much, ma'am. It was really inspiring, and I'm pretty sure each and every students, parents, anybody out there, we loved everything you said. We loved having you here. And ma'am, any concluding remarks from your end?
I really say that if you got a doubt, if you would like to ask me, write me. You can give my email and people can write me. We can make a conversation. We can clarify. We can just share an experience that perhaps if just this interview play just only two people who go and try to play rugby, I will be super happy, and I'm at disposal of the community to share my love and my experience. Thank you really so much for having given me this possibility of share my point of view, and wish you the best for your organization and aim and association and all the ideas that comes to make all the pupils and all the peoples of the world being connected on the possibility of having a culture and having knowledge. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you,
The
ma'am.
pleasure
And
is ours.
we say
Namaste.
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 Namaste, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. As we say bye, could you say bye in French, in Italian?
In French,
Italian. No, in
au
Italian.
revoir. I can say no thing. Au revoir is in French, goodbye in English, but in Italian is arrivederci.
Ma'am, could you say it again?
Arrivederci, that means see you in another time, see you soon.
Arrivederci, ma'am.
Arrivederci.
Arrivederci, ma'am. Hopefully our pronunciation is also right. Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.